This is College Hockey Southwest Weekly, your source for college hockey in the Desert Southwest, part of the IcetimeHockeySW.com family. College Hockey Southwest Weekly is presented by College Bar and Grill, 502 South College Avenue in Tempe, and online at ilovecollege.co. Now, here are your hosts, Scott Strandy, and I'm Tom Callahan.
Welcome into another episode of College Hockey Southwest Weekly. Tom, it's getting down to the nitty-gritty. We talked about it last week. You told me gritty was last weekend or 2 weekends ago.
Nitty was last.
Nitty.
Gritty is this weekend.
Coming up. Yeah. Okay. Either way, Sun Devils are going to the University of Minnesota. Mm-hmm. What's your thoughts? Last week of the regular season.
Big. And look, and all the humility aside from Coach Powers and the organization, this is a tournament team. They've done enough, in my opinion, and I think the opinion of a lot of people, to merit being in the national tournament. The question becomes where, right. What seed, what regional. So those are things yet to be determined. And going into Minnesota, you know what? If they can win one, if not two on the road, get to 22 or 23 wins, that's a tremendous year, but also to show you can beat a big program in its home rink. Look, I know that there's been some, BC's having a down year, BU's having a down year, Minnesota's having a down year. There's still a mystique that has existed for decades around these programs. And for a program that hasn't even been around for a decade, right? You know, not even half of one. Yep. This is a big moment every time they step on the ice against one of those, gemstone type of featured programs in the NCAA. So no exception, and they did it on purpose. They scheduled that way this year. So going up to Minnesota, yet another test. They passed a lot of tests this year, a lot of tests. And so, Scott, I think that this is their chance to kind of hone their game just a little bit more before they have that 3-week break.
Okay, so before we get really into the tournament, because we'll have a lot of time, obviously, with 3 weeks, but let's talk a little bit about, the importance of going in strong, going on. You want to win your last game of the season, your last couple of games, but you also want to, let me step back. Is there an importance to where you're seated in a regional tournament when it's one and done?
Only if the matchup doesn't favor you. Right. That's the only way I think it matters, because you're still going to travel. Yeah. You're not playing in Phoenix.
You're not getting home ice.
Right. You're not going to be in Tempe in front of your fans, but you could be in a Providence in front of your own fans. You know what I mean? Yeah. So to that, I guess it matters there. Probably the least favorable spot would be Fargo. Probably. I feel like there's a good East Coast alumni base for this team, so it's important for them to be there. And I think Providence is probably the best because it's kind of halfway between New York and Boston. Yeah. And you can draw a lot of fans from the Northeast. It's easily accessible. It's got a major airport if anybody really wanted to get their dander up and fly in. But as far as the seeding goes, 1 versus 4, 2 versus 3, throw everything out the window anyway. All things, pretty much become equal at that point. It's just who plays better in 2 hockey games.
Right. And that's the thing. It's 16 teams of parity. We just talked with Coach Powers about the parity, that there is so much parity in college hockey right now that I don't know that there's a big difference between the talent level at 1 and 4 or 1 and 16, for example.
Yeah. And you know what? Teams play different styles. They play different ways. There's a lot of talent in hockey scattered across the country. And you know as well as I do, a team that isn't as good on paper but plays better as a team can win a game. A goaltender can steal a game, even when you get 50 shots against. All you need to do is find a way to get the break or the bounce, a little bit of puck luck. So anything can happen as long as you're prepared and you're ready. And that, to me, is actually going to be the biggest challenge for Arizona State. Are they going to be prepared heading into tournament time?
You led me into that one. I want to jump back to Minnesota, though, and not get too far ahead of it.
Okay. All right.
When I look at this weekend series, big ice sheet, right? Speedy forwards for both teams, but especially for ASU. They've got a lot of team speed. Yeah. So I give the check mark, if you will, to the ASU offense. I think they're going to be okay. I also give the check mark to the goaltender. It's going to be Joey Daccord, win or lose. He's the guy that's going to be the backstop. Where I'm a little bit nervous is the young defensive core for ASU. How will they stand up to the speed of Minnesota, the talent of Minnesota, and also the big ice sheet? Your thoughts on that?
Well, and so for those who may not know, Minnesota plays on an Olympic-sized sheet of ice, which means instead of being 85 feet wide, it's 100 feet wide. So there's an extra 7.5 feet on the wings. It makes a difference for defensemen and for goaltenders, but especially defensemen. So gap coverage, a gap is how far you are from your attacking forward. And you want to make sure you gap up correctly and make sure you have basically that attacking forward under control. With that extra room on the wall, the D has to be very conscious of, if you let a guy go wide, how wide do you let him go? Because now there's extra room over there. Does he have more chance to make a play from the wing? Yes. Is a shot as dangerous from out there? No. And so the goaltender, Joey Daccord, is going to have to make sure that his angles are proper and he's not leaving a hole for a shot. But that's the decision now defensemen are faced with in gapping up with a guy is, okay, if he's going to go wide, how do I let him go wide? But if he's going wide with speed, do I have to turn earlier? And if he's turned out wider and I decide to pivot towards that wall, now does he have more room to come back in front of me and get back to the center of the ice where he's much more dangerous? And so that gap coverage is something they definitely have to be cognizant of defensively. Could be a place where they struggle if they're not ready for it. You can coach it and you get on the bigger ice and you see it a little bit more, but that's going to come down to the coaches talking to the defenseman and saying, look, if A, then B, and it's got to be programmed in. It has to be an instinctive reaction for them. And you may have a guy who beats you wide, but if he's coming off the wall from down low and he does get around you, you also have to have a recovery plan to know to help your goaltender and try to keep that shot as from a bad of an angle as possible. So yeah, that's going to be really big for these young defensemen, is to make sure that gap coverage is right. So
I asked our next guest, Joey Daccord, I asked him a little bit about his thoughts and whether he could adjust to an Olympic-sized ice sheet quickly. They are going to skate, from what I understand, Thursday night when they get there. They're also going to have a morning skate on Friday. He said, yeah, it was not going to be a big deal. I'm comfortable. He talked about playing within the paint in net and staying a little farther back in net. And then he also talked what you talked about last week about patience, about giving the attacking forward a little bit more time to get to where he's going before he maybe shoots the puck and not moving too quickly on him. So looking forward to seeing what Joey will do. 2 big games. We're going to come back and we're going to take a quick break now and come back with Joey Daccord and our little conversation about the final regular season weekend of the year.
Pre-game like a pro, post-game like a champion at College Bar and Grill. Located across the street from the iconic A Mountain and Sun Devil Stadium and a quick walk from Wells Fargo Arena, College Bar and Grill is your home for the best local craft beer, delicious creative cocktails, tasty food, and Tempe's best atmosphere for Arizona State athletics. College Bar and Grill. Pre-game like a pro, post-game like a champion. Online at ilovecollege.co.
Welcome in to another segment, College Hockey Southwest Weekly. I got the goaltender with me, Joey Daccord. Welcome in.
Thanks for having me.
We're down to the last weekend of the season. We're going to Minnesota, Olympic ice sheet. How excited is Joey Daccord right now?
You know, I'm pretty excited. It's pretty cool. When we, lately we've been looking at, my class especially has been looking at where we've played. Being independent, we get the luxury to play a lot of different teams.
Right.
And when you look at it, it's pretty cool. We've played in basically all of the biggest college hockey arenas and markets. Now especially with Minnesota coming up this weekend, we've played at all the big Boston schools. We've played at Penn State. We've played at Notre Dame. The seniors played at Wisconsin. I know I'm forgetting some, but we've played. Right. Played at Denver. We played at all these huge arenas and all these big time hockey markets. So it's pretty cool, and I think that we're probably the only team that really gets to say that, because we get the luxury of when we're independent playing all these different schools.
Yeah. So let's jump back a little bit. Let's jump back to the Desert Classic, and I touted it before that started that was 4 pretty good teams. I also said there were 4 pretty good goaltenders, and when you look at the numbers right now, the 4 of you that played in that Desert Classic are right up near the top in the NCAA in almost every category. You have the lead in wins right now at 21. You got the lead in shutouts. Your save percentage is up there. Your goals against is okay. How are you feeling?
Pretty good. I mean, I don't really look at that stuff too much.
I know you don't.
just got to
I know you look at the wins, right?
Yeah, just the win count basically is what's important. You know, I think you know, to be such, you know, to have such an improvement on last season, and you know, I think between my first 2 seasons combined, I think we've tripled our win total or something like that almost. You know, so it's pretty cool, and it's really special, and just, you know, winning just you know, it's the most fun thing in hockey, so it's been pretty special this year.
I know you guys have taken the season one game at a time, right? And that's extremely important when you get into the national tournament run, because it's one and done, right?
Yep.
So as the way you guys have built through the season, how does it feel as a goaltender? Are you feeling like every period is, I got to win this period? Or what's your mind thought?
No, I mean, I think, you know, for me personally, I just try to take it one shot at a time. It's taking the next chance, the next shot, and just doing whatever I can to help our team win and trying to make that next save. So, you know, whether I get scored on or make a save, it doesn't matter. It's the next shot, and it's, you know, staying focused for the entire 60 minutes.
You know, when you look at a team like yourselves that have gotten better and gotten better, you went from underdogs. Now I think you might be favorites sometimes, and people look at you a little differently. Are you feeling that too? I mean, media attention obviously steps up, but are other teams starting to look at you like now they have to give you their best shot because they want to knock you guys off?
Yeah, well, I think you know, in my first 2 seasons, it was most of the time we kind of came to the game either as, you know, even or the underdog. So to be in a situation this year where we expect to win every single night is for me a little unique, you know, compared to the last 2 years. But it's a good feeling, you know. I think when you expect to win and you hold yourself accountable that you should win, you know, it kind of feeds that winning culture, you know, like, and things just kind of seem to go our way this year, and it's been really cool. And, you know, I kind of think it's been a snowball effect.
Yeah.
It is one of those things where we won some games early, we beat some good teams early, and then it just kind of snowballed, and we just kept winning and winning, and things just kept going our way. And then now we're at a point where, you know, we're 21-10-1, and we're one of the best teams in the country, so it's pretty cool.
You know, I sit at Oceanside right above your bench, right? And I watch your guys' demeanor, yours, your teammates, and in years past, I've seen maybe like when adversity hits, you guys are kind of like hanging on. It's like, we want to get the tie, we want to hang in here, we don't want to get blown out. But this year it's like adversity hit you hard with the AIC in that second game.
Yep.
And I watched your teammates step up and go like, we got this, we're the better team. I heard comments like that. I heard like all overtime means is we get the next one.
Yeah.
Now I look at your record, I see 21-10-1, there's one tie.
Yep.
There was chances for other ties, right?
Yep.
But you guys are different this year, right? You're finishing overtimes. What's the difference?
I don't know. I think it's just that winning mentality and just knowing we're going to win when overtime starts. I think, you know, obviously we never want to blow a lead, but when you play so many games and you're in the lead so many times, eventually, you know, you're gonna get in penalty trouble, like, which is what happened, and or things aren't gonna go your way. And I thought it was an incredible testament to the character we have in our locker room to give up 3 straight, have overtime forced on us, and then go score anyways to win the game. I thought that was like a season-defining moment, because that's kind of what our whole season's been about.
I want to ask you about, Coach Powers brought this up to me, that was the first time you guys been scored on 6 and 5. What did AIC do differently to you that? He said they drew up a great game plan to score that goal. What did
Penn
they do?
State did too.
Oh, did they?
Penn State tied it up, and then we won in overtime in that game too.
Okay.
Yeah, Johnny scored.
So I remember that. So what did they do differently on 6 and 5? And from a goaltender's perspective, what are you looking for on a 6 on 5? Anything different, or?
Well, on a 6 on 5, you're basically just trying to stay in the middle of your net and just trying to find the puck. So when there's 11 guys on the ice, it's really crowded, and usually they put an extra guy in front of the net, so you really can't see anything. So in that play, they kind of got it off the half wall, and the guy kind of drove towards the net, and so I was trying to find the puck, and they had 2 guys right in front of me, so I couldn't see anything. And then they made a nice play. They threw it down to the goal line, and I was a little late getting there, and then they just whipped it across the front of the net, and then it was just a melee in front of the net, and somehow found a way in. You know, it was one of those things where, you know, sometimes putting the puck towards the net's a good play, and that's just kind of what happened, and you know, they benefited from it. But once again, it was an incredible effort from our guys to regroup and then reset and go score a minute or 2 into overtime.
I want to ask you and wrap things up by you telling me a little bit about the difference between Olympic size ice and Oceanside ice, for example.
For a goalie?
What do you have to do differently, and what's your mindset coming into this weekend?
Yeah, it's not too different. I think when you're playing on an Olympic sheet as a goalie, the angles are a little bit different.
Yeah.
So you really just got to focus on staying in your paint and being a little more patient, because you can get caught outside your posts a little more frequently and caught out of the net at times. So really, what you're trying to do is just trying to stay, keep it a little bit deeper in your net, and just try to make really good reads on the play, and just be as patient as possible.
How fast can you adjust to that? You get a morning skate up there on Friday.
Yeah.
Will you adjust during that morning skate pretty much and be ready to go Friday night?
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah.
Final question for you. When you're up there and you have open ice, you like to play the puck. There's no secret about that.
Yeah.
What's going through your head about playing the puck? Anything different? Any chances that you might take this weekend that you wouldn't take, say, at Oceanside Ice Arena?
Not really. I think, I'm just going to try to play my game, and if that involves playing the puck a little bit more or a little less, it really depends on the type of game it ends up being. If they don't give me the puck, if they don't want to dump it in, then I never touch the puck anyways. So, it really depends on how the game goes, and I'll do what I can and do what I normally do, and if that ends up me playing the puck, then I'll enjoy it a lot.
I can see that smile on your face. Joey Daccord, I appreciate your time as always. We'll see you up there. I'm coming up there to do a weekend series on you guys, so it's just the end of the regular season. There's more to come.
Yeah, first time for that, so it's pretty cool.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Welcome back in, folks. Tom Callahan with me. We just had a great visit with Joey Daccord. We're talking goaltenders. Old goaltender. What do you think about Joey's chances at Minnesota?
You know what? I think he's a cerebral kind of guy. Puts a lot of thought into his game, and I think that will help him a lot. The upside of that is sometimes if you're a goaltender, you can't get in your own head.
Right.
But I don't think he does that. I think he's calm, he's cool, he's collected. So I think that will help him make the transition up there. And you know what? He's had a heck of a season. There's no reason why it's not going to continue.
I'm going to throw a little behind the scenes. I got to get this in there. I know you had a little conversation with Joey about the future, and we don't want to see that future here in ASU happen for about another year and a half, 2 years or so. But you noticed some things going on with the Ottawa program, who holds his draft rights, and the trade deadline and where Ottawa's headed. What did you tell Joey? What kind of advice did you give him as an old goaltender and a guy that's been around the NHL and the AHL?
Yeah, Ottawa's getting younger. Clearly, at this trade deadline, they've cast off their biggest names. Actually, over the last year or so, it started with Erik Karlsson.
Mark Stone now.
Yes, I mean they're going younger. There's no two ways about it. They traded for picks and prospects, and Joey is a definite prospect in that organization. Now, this offseason coming up, he has a chance to go restricted free agent, which there's a lot behind it. We're not going to go into all the limitations. But anyway, point being, Ottawa would have to re-sign him to an entry-level deal. And if that does happen, I don't think that's a bad place for him to be, although they have a senior goaltender in Craig Anderson who's been around the league a long time. He's going to play as long as he wants to play in Ottawa, and that's probably going to be a couple of seasons. So why not come back to ASU for your senior season? Not only get your degree, which I think is very important, but playing for a nationally ranked college program, you're the guy, you're going to get the net, you'll get all the playing time, you'll get probably as many, if not more, starts than you would in the American Hockey League, playing there. So I think that, do I think the caliber of the AHL is higher than NCAA D1? Yes. I do think that, and you'll still have to go that road probably while waiting for Anderson, because you don't want any young developing goaltender to be a backup in the NHL. You'd rather he be a starter in the AHL and play those minutes. So I just think if I were Joey, depending on what happens, Ottawa, if he gets a chance to go elsewhere, maybe the roadmap changes a little bit, but I think the future for Ottawa is 3 to 5 years from now.
Yeah, I'd agree.
It's not going to be anytime soon, and I think that bodes well for the roadmap and the development map for a guy like Joey.
I'm going to summarize what Tom just told you. He said, Joey Daccord, come back to ASU for your season. Enough said.
Okay.
Let's take a quick break. Let's come back and visit with one of the co-captains for the Arizona State Sun Devils, Tyler Busch.
Want to do something fun and interesting for your next group outing, family get-together, or birthday party? Well, check out an ice rental at Oceanside Ice Arena. Oceanside offers private skating group rates that include figure or hockey skate rental for all skaters in the group. Oceanside also does private ice rental for hockey and other events as well. Call Adam Mims at 480-941-0944 extension 11 or visit them online at oceansideicearena.net.
Welcome in to another edition of College Hockey Southwest Weekly. It's nitty-gritty time, right? It's down to the last weekend of the regular season. I've got one of the co-captains with the Arizona State Sun Devils with me, Tyler Busch. And Tyler, first of all, welcome back.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So tell me a little bit about what's going through your head with 1 week of the regular season to go in your season.
Well, it's an exciting time for us. This is kind of what we've been working for all year to, play meaningful games at this time of the season. And we're just continuing to do the same thing we've done all year. And, I think that's why we've had success all year is we haven't changed our approach ever. And, we're just carrying the same mindset into Minnesota.
So Minnesota's coming up this weekend, but let's take a step back to senior weekend a couple weekends ago and playing AIC, and you get a couple of wins. The last one was a little bit more adversity than you probably wanted, but you got it done. So tell me a little bit about this team and how you guys handle adversity.
Well, I think we do a great job. I think that wasn't the first game all year that we've kind of blew a third period lead, and I think in college hockey you see that happen quite a bit.
Right.
Teams can score quick, and when they get a little bit of momentum, it can be tough to stop. But I think our bench really handled it well, and especially for the 5 guys that were playing their last home games, I think it was good for us to kind of buckle down and end up getting that OT win for them.
I sit right above you guys in the press box here at Oceanside, and I noticed some maturity on your team for the first time, really, for me, that I've noticed it, I guess. But when you guys were taking their best punch, you stood up. I know a couple other guys, Jacob Wilson stood up, but you guys kind of calmed the bench down, didn't you?
Yeah, I think emotions were running high there for a couple shifts in a row there, and we ended up with a 5-minute penalty, and I think we kind of just said to take a deep breath and kind of get through it, and we've been in that position before, so it was nothing new for us. And like you said, just trying to calm the nerves a bit and get everyone to settle down a bit, and then I think we did a great job. I think we gave up one goal in that penalty kill, but to get through that for the most part was a good job by our penalty kill, and Dax did a great job too, standing on his head.
What's it like when you get 13 consecutive minutes of penalties that you got to kill? It really pulls everything out of whack, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, especially for guys that don't play special teams, it can be tough to sit on the bench for a while and not get to touch the ice. So it's not ideal, but I think we handled it well and got through it. And then a guy like PJ Morocco that might not have seen as much ice because of special teams. He stood up in a big way and scored us a big goal in overtime.
You and I have talked earlier in the year about your role as the captain on this team, and I asked Coach Powers last week about it, and he was telling me that you're the guy that has to look guys in the eye and straighten them out here and there, and Brittany kind of comes behind you and picks them back up again. Is that your role? Is that how you feel, or do you just do what you do?
Yeah, I think you could say that. I mean, I think we have a good dynamic there. I'm a bit more vocal and maybe show my emotions a little bit more than him. But I think our team does a great job of handling it. When guys maybe make mistakes, they'll own up to it. And if you get in a little bit of an argument or get heated a little bit, I think that's just our competitive nature. And guys understand that we're playing at a high level, and you have to sometimes look yourself in the mirror and ask if you're doing enough. And I'm the same way too. If I'm not doing enough, I'll anyone can say it to my face and let me know, and I'll take it like a man and do my best to turn things around. So I think our team does a really good job of responding that way.
So you're heading into Minnesota this weekend. Like I said already, it's the last regular season weekend, and we all kind of feel like you guys have made enough of a stride, but I know you guys want a couple more wins, and now you're going to a big ice sheet again. As a forward, how do you feel with the big ice sheet up at Minnesota?
It's bit of a change, I guess. Yeah, you gotta. I think you gotta focus on getting good angles and taking time and space away from guys, because if you give them room on a big sheet of ice like that, they can they can pick you apart if you're not closing the gap quickly. And yeah, I mean, for us, I think not much changes. We're still going to try to play our style of game, and it's worked for us all year. So just like I said, just taking better angles and using our feet a little more, and I think we should be fine.
So let's play the hypothetical here. Let's say you guys get yourselves into the national tournament, and you've got 3, almost 4 weeks to relax, to heal, to prepare. Good or bad?
Well, I don't know. I think it's we just that's
it
the cards.
Is what it is, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's the cards we're dealt, and when the time comes, I think we'll handle it well, and we're gonna have to treat it like a positive, and get rest and get healthy, and I think at this point of the year, guys are nicked up and have gone through a lot, so I can only help but think that it'll be good for us, and we got to get through Minnesota still, but after that, just continue to work out and train and rest, and just play by ear and see how everything goes.
Every game that you play at this point is historic for the program, right? You just keep adding wins and adding more things to that chart, but is there a number? I mean, it's 23 wins. I know you want to win every game, but is there a big difference between 21 wins where you're at now and 23 in your mind?
I mean, yeah, you want to win every time you're out there, and I think we've done a really good job of not looking too far ahead all year, and I know everyone's thinking about the tournament and getting to a good spot, but I don't think that we should change our approach at all. I think we just keep treating every weekend like a must-win, and we've been doing that ever since the start of the year, really. And I think that if we keep treating it the same, we should be fine.
So, final question for you: have you seen a difference on the way teams approach you now that you're having success? You're start of the season. Did people take you differently? And right now, are you expecting maybe you guys got a little target on your back where somebody wants to try to beat you to prove something for their own people?
Yeah, maybe a little bit. I think when any team has a good record like us, and teams are trying to catch us, and it's no surprise that the teams are bringing their best every night, and I think that's what we want, and that's, I think, our competitive nature strives in that situation, and I think we've been handling it really well and doing a good job.
Tyler Busch, congratulations on a great year so far. I know there's a lot more hockey left to play. We'll see you up in Minnesota. We're going to be up there and doing a little wrap-up show from it, so we're looking forward to a good weekend.
Sounds good. Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, man.
All right.
All right, folks, welcome back in. Hope you enjoyed that interview with Tyler Busch, one of the co-captains here, and as Coach Powers likes to call him, the voice, right? Because he's the guy that stands up to everybody. He beats them down a little bit when they do something wrong, and then Brinson Passionate sneaks in and gives them that little hug and that little inspiration.
Good cop, bad cop. Yeah.
That's the way to run your team, right?
Well, I mean, you need all kinds of leaders, and on a team of leaders, which is the way Coach Powers recruits, every guy finds their role, and Busch is the voice in the room. He's the guy who's, look, not everybody responds to a guy getting in their face, but some guys sure do, and they get fired up, and they want to either prove that guy wrong, or they want to fight for that guy and get behind him and make it happen. And then, as you mentioned, sometimes some guys need a hug or a little pat on the fanny to make them feel better after all is said and done, but both styles can be equally effective. I think that's the way they built this program on purpose. I think it's great because I do think there's 20 leaders in that locker room, and whether you're wearing a letter or not, I think it's incumbent upon you at different times when it's your time to step up that you do, and I think these guys have done that all year.
Let's talk a little bit about this final weekend is approaching now. It's going to be over with soon. They're going to be tasked with doing something to maintain their intensity level, to maintain game action, if you will, heading into a tournament which we all believe they're headed towards. So we look at this team right now, they're built for one game at a time, right? How do you do 3.5 weeks waiting for that next one game at a time?
I think you first of all, it will involve a decent amount of rest in the first week. You tell guys maybe get away from the rink a little bit more than normal. You still skate, you still try to keep them around, maybe do some off-ice stuff. You don't want to lose their heads completely, but you're going to need to rest some injuries. Everybody's got them.
Guess what next week is at ASU? Spring break week.
Oh, there you
so
go.
There we go.
Yeah.
There's the rest and relaxation as long as it's too much fun.
Right.
And then you come back and you start getting into game action, right?
Well, that's what you have to tell the guys. Hey, be smart.
Yep.
Have fun. Enjoy yourself. You're a college kid, but just be smart. That's all. And you can go and enjoy yourself. And then you come back, you get on the ice, and then you go back to the foundation and the skills, and you go back to almost the mundane. You work on your breakouts, you work on your special teams, you get guys skating a little bit, you make sure their wind is still up because conditioning goes away so fast, even in 18, 20, 21-year-old kids. It goes quick, so you have to stay on the conditioning, and then the final week is the fine-tuning of the things that you want to hone going into tournament time, and then your travel, all built in there. So it's not easy to keep mentally focused. I mean, maybe you break it up, maybe you scrimmage a little bit, you do things that maybe you haven't done in a short week, but when you've got 3 weeks, you can maybe take a little different approach.
So that's the ASU side of things, right?
Right.
Everybody else in the country is going to be playing in a conference tournament of some magnitude, right? Some of them have to win to get in. Some of them want to win because they've been the number one seed in their conference maybe, or the number one team in their conference all year long. So how does this, let's take two conferences. You got the WCHA, which is clearly going to be Minnesota State unless somebody really shocks the world.
Right.
But then you got the Big Ten, for example, where everybody's beating up everybody. What do you prefer if you're a coach of one of those teams in one of those leagues? You want to be Minnesota State and have the easier road, or do you want to battle?
Well, so who do I want to face, believe it or not, would be more than Minnesota State.
Right.
Because they've been up top all along, and they just expect they're going to win. Maybe you catch a team like that, thinking they're going to walk over you and you can surprise them. As far as a team that's had to battle to get in, I, as a coach, want my team to fight and earn what they need to do.
Yeah.
We're a good team, but we had to win that division, or the conference tournament rather. We had to play hard and elevate our game to get past our opponents, and I would much rather have that as a schedule going in, provided there's no injuries to my team. You don't want to have to blow everything out just to win.
Right.
Because then you get into the tournament, it's like, well, what do you have left in the tank? So, I think that, I'd rather face a team that might be a little overconfident. But by the same token, Scott, I mean, it's, if there is a team that runs out of gas at the wrong time and you happen to catch them in the tournament, I'm not going to apologize for that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's going to be a fun week. It's going to be even a more fun 3 weeks as we look forward to Selection Sunday on the 24th and seeing where this team is headed and what lies ahead for them. We'll get extensively into that over the next 3 or 4 weeks, but right now we're going to focus on Minnesota. We're going to hope that they get in there. My magic number is still sitting at 1 because I think they need 22 wins just to feel totally comfortable. 23 wouldn't hurt. And if they get 21, we're not going to go, I'm sorry, you're not in.
Right.
I think it's just going to be a matter of where you find yourself in the positioning.
I think they're going to play Minnesota close no matter what happens. And I think they will find a way to persevere. I can't see them not managing at least a split this weekend. Yeah. And that's what it'll be about is fine-tuning their hockey game. So I'm looking forward to it, Scott. Should be a great weekend of hockey.
Well, we got through the NHL deadline for you.
Yep.
Now it's college hockey for you. You got to focus on that. And then it's going to flip around to the NHL and AHL playoffs. So you're going to be a busy man, I know, over the next couple of months because you follow this diligently with your various podcasts. And we enjoy watching them, we enjoy listening to them, and we enjoy your insight because you've seen it from every level. Yeah,
and you know what I do? It's some might say it's an addiction. I think it's great. I do. I love hockey. I love following it, so I'm looking forward to it, and I'm very excited to see what the Sun Devils do up here in Minnesota. I think it's going to be a great weekend, and this is a fun time of year. If you're a hockey fan, there's no better time of year.
Absolutely, and I want to throw out the great sponsors that we have with College Bar and Grill. And, of course, the folks over at Behind the Mask. And your favorite one is the...
OxyPow. That stuff, it really works. It's awesome. Definitely. I'm a huge fan of OxyPow, but thank you to all of our sponsors and everything you guys do, and we certainly appreciate it, and that's why Scott and I are able to bring you continuing coverage.
And we're going to try to inform people that the bus is still, like I told you last week, there's a couple of us sitting up front.
That's
right. A couple
right.
have joined us, but there's still plenty of room on the bus, so if you want to get your business online with us here at College Hockey Southwest Weekly, by all means get a hold of us. Take advantage of the great special we got running through the Frozen 4, which of course is my new hashtag, Buffalo Bound.
There you go. And it's at the risk of making it sound a little bit like PBS, we can't do this for free. Right. But there's a reason why we're able to go the places we go and do the things we do. And so sponsorship is important. So if you do enjoy what we do, how we do it, if the coverage matters to you, it's always great to hear from you and let us know, and you can contact Scott and let him know, and maybe we can work together on this and the continuing coverage right up through, as Scott says, hashtag Buffalo Bound.
All right, folks, have a good week. Until next week, enjoy hockey.